Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hey, in this video, I'm going to let you know 3 things I wish Cambodia would change, fix, or improve, and 3 things I hope that never changes because I think it's fine just the way it is. Before we get started, just a reminder that if you like this video, and you want to help support the channel, I have links down below for PayPal, or you could buy me a coffee or two at Ko-fi.com. And if you go to the link down below, you can also purchase any of my books. That always helps. I have my debut horror novel called Pray for Salvation down there. My book, Living Cambodia, A Guide for Living in the Kingdom of Wonders down there, and a bunch of others. So consider doing that. We love our supporters, as always. You guys make good things happen, and we really appreciate all the support. And it's a new month, new goal, so let's make it happen. And as a way of saying thank you for everybody, the first horror anthology I ever wrote called The Things That Happen at Night, I should say. There's a special link down below, and only at that link can you pick up that copy of my book absolutely free. Right at that link. It's the only place you can get it for free. It's free for everybody. There are no strings attached, no obligations. You're not signing up for anything. Just go there, pick it up, and enjoy it. And feel free to spread the link around to anybody who might enjoy that kind of thing. And they can get their copy for free there as well. It's a way of saying thank you. All right. So when it comes to Cambodia, there's a saying around these here parts, around this area of the world, that everything is the same but different, which means basically it feels familiar, like it has all the things, most of the things you expect from living back home, but everything's a little different, and there are some things that they definitely don't have or don't work the same way as it does back where you're from. And I wouldn't really call these things negatives. These are just 3 things that I wish they could change at some point to improve certain aspects for foreigners living here. Although the cost and time it would take to make these changes means they're probably not going to happen. So consider this like a wish list. Just something to throw out there, and who knows, maybe one day some of these changes will happen. These are not things they're talking about changing or thinking about changing or anything like that. These are just my personal feelings about them. And be sure to add your own in the comments if you've been here and you have an opinion about that. So the first thing I wish they would change is the mail system. You do not get mail at your house here, for the most part. For the vast majority of people, they just do not receive regular, like, snail mail. And so when you're getting a package or something, whether it's from overseas, you have to go through generally the post office. Most people will go to the post office, and of course, whoever sends you that package, you have to have your phone number written on the outside of the package so they can call you, let you know when you get a package. And generally, you'll have to go through a third-party courier if you want that package to be tracked. Otherwise, you have no idea if it's going to be there in 3 weeks, 3 months, a year. Maybe you just won't get it at all. And they do not, of course, deliver house to house like they might do in your country. There's no mail carriers or really postal service or anything like from back in the United States anyway. And it's understandable. I mean, it's shipping things here can be quite expensive with the shipping costs, and having to use a third party to get that tracking feature is going to make that even more expensive. But the problem here, I think, mainly is a lot of roads here are unnamed. Even on Google Maps, you're going to see a lot of unnamed roads, and nobody has a proper address. I'm not known the address of where I've lived for the last almost 7 years now. If somebody says, where do you live? You just say, I live in this area by this place. That's how you... There's always some landmark or something easily found on Google Maps that they can look and find your place. That's generally the way it's done because there's no addresses and a lot of roads don't even have names. And of course, as I said, the time and money it would take to implement that would probably not be worth it right now because locals, they've been doing it a certain way for a long time and they don't expect mail like we would think of it, you know. But as far as receiving things, I wish there was a system where it could just be mailed directly right here. I could go out, you know, I could go out to my little mail slot or my mailbox in the apartment buildings here and just pick it up. Coupons and offers, different restaurants, you know, whatever they have. So that's one thing I wish, and I hope maybe eventually will change. I think it would make things more efficient for foreigners to receive packages, and might take care of some of that exorbitant cost of actually using those third parties to get it to you. But again, like I said, this is a wish list, and yeah, you don't always get what you wish for, you know. But that's one thing I'd like to see. The second thing I'd like to see improved is, and this one is actually might come true, in they're talking about it right now. They're going to spend a lot of money. I believe it was $1.5 million here in Siem Reap alone to improve the sewage and water systems here. If you don't know, you generally do not want to drink out of the tap water here, straight from the tap. There are companies that will come out and test your water to see if it's safe. But for the most part, you're going to need some kind of filter if you're going to do that, or you're going to have to boil the water first. But most people rely on those big 20-liter jugs, or just get it in plastic bottles, 12-pack at a time, because the water here is not safe. Now, we use it for cooking because it's going to be boiled, of course. And I use it to make my coffee because, again, I'm going to boil it first really good. And I haven't had any issues with it. And you can do your dishes and take a shower without a problem with the water. But you don't want to drink it at room temperature or cold right out of the tap, because there could be little bacteria lurking around in there, ready to turn your insides into jelly. Let's put it that way. You just don't want to get sick and risk an infection that way. Like I said, they are talking about a plan to improve all that. They want everybody to have clean, fresh drinking water without having to purchase it, because they know that would also lessen the amount of plastic that's being used, because most people just buy a plastic container of water. So that would have that benefit as well, that there won't be as much garbage around, at least plastic garbage. So that could actually be a possibility. But how it's, implementing it to every household, every apartment building, etc. in the city, logistically could be pretty severe. So I don't expect that to happen for at least a few years, because they're just in the planning stages. But it would be nice if the drinking water was fresh, and the sewage system, you would be able to not have things plug up so much. Every apartment we've lived in, at some point, the toilet's plugged up, or the kitchen sink's plugged up, or the bathroom sink's plugged up. And sometimes it's just the weirdest thing. Like, we don't put anything in the toilet and flush it. We don't throw food down the drain in the kitchen or anything. But sometimes it just gets plugged up for whatever reason. And hopefully they can take care of that problem as well. And The next thing I really wish would change, and this is something I think that could be implemented fairly cost effectively, but maybe they haven't thought about it because Cambodia's government has many ministries, many departments that are always putting out notices of changes in certain areas. And while a lot of them anyway, maybe most of them will not affect a foreigner living here, it's mainly for locals. I wish it was a way, I wish I had like an English department or something, an office for all these ministries. So when there is a change that can happen suddenly and without notice, by the way, that does affect foreigners, either when it comes to work permits or visas or extensions or, something like that, that information will be disseminated to us at the same time the Khmer version is. Because usually what happens is they'll post on all their social media the Khmer decree or whatever department they're in about certain changes. And it might take a few days to a week later before somebody interprets it and puts it into English. And then you have to look for it because there's no central place to get that information. And then even then, sometimes the interpretations are less than stellar, and the way they're worded might raise more questions. So, sometimes things happen here that change things, and I'm not even aware of it because there was no central hub for me to go to get that information. And while they do have English written newspapers online that you can access, like Khmer Times, Phnom Penh Post, I'm not talking about something just with general news where you have to scroll and scroll and scroll trying to find what you're looking for. And sometimes even those articles don't have all the information you need to actually make sense of these changes. I'm talking about an office officially with the government that would disseminate the information both in Khmer and both in English at a central place, a Facebook page, a Twitter, an Instagram, whatever they have. They would make it clear from an English-speaking perspective of what those changes are, if that makes sense. I don't think that's something that would cost a lot of money to implement, and I wish they would, because sometimes somebody will say, hey, I heard that they just changed this, and I'm like, I have not heard about it, but I can't dismiss it, because like I said, I might not know for weeks afterwards that change happened, because there's no central hub to go to get that information. And unless you stumble upon it, like in Facebook or something, you probably won't know. So yeah, that's another change I wish they'd implement. But now let's talk about what I hope they never change here. And the first thing I'm going to tell you right now, no matter how much they improve the sewage system here and everything else, I hope they never, ever, ever try to get rid of the bum guns. I hope that continues to be a thing forever. That thing is a life-changing mechanism. After you go in the bathroom doing your dirty business in there, a spray just feels so much better than a wipe. I mean, you get all the nasty bits off, and you feel cleaner with a good old bum gun. Currently, these are in use everywhere because, of course, you can't flush toilet paper or anything down the toilet because it will clog it up and wreak havoc on the system as a whole. But even if they fix that, I hope that continues to be a thing, because if I ever went back, that would probably be the number one thing I'd miss here besides the people is the bum gun and how great it makes me feel. Not having to buy toilet paper for the last almost 7 years, that's a pretty big deal because you don't need it. It's just a more effective way of cleaning yourself, more hygienic too. And here's a tip for you when it comes to that. And when you're looking at an apartment, while you're oohing and eyeing at everything you're getting and the layout and all the amenities you can get, always check the pressure of your bum gun before you make a commitment, because that's a deal breaker for me. If you go in there and it's kind of a weak spray, you don't want to find that out after it's too late. Realize that you're going to have issues during your potty time. I like mine to be a little bit more on the rough side. I like mine to be like, it can take paint off a car. That's how much water pressure I like in my bum gun. And Yeah, so remember when you're looking at an apartment, don't forget that aspect. Go in there and give it a squeeze. See what kind of power it's got behind it, because that could be an issue later. And the next thing I hope they never change are over-regulating street food carts. I know that's happened before in different countries, especially, again, I'll say the United States. People go to New York City, they wonder why the food and the food trucks and those hot dog cart stands are so expensive, $4 or $5 for a hot dog. Well, that's because it's really overregulated. They have to put so much money. The vendors do. They had to put so much money into paperwork and getting all their certificates and everything and being inspected, and it just raises the price. And plus real estate, of course, wherever they park, they have to pay rent there to somebody, and it's usually very exorbitant, out of control there. And so, yeah, the prices are going to reflect that. You can get a really good, decent-sized sandwich at a food truck or something, but it's going to cost you $15 to $25 for that sandwich. And like I said, $4 and $5 hot dogs, just that seems a little bit ridiculous to me. But there have been other countries around here who have cleared out street food carts from certain areas, claiming safety and reasons. Should an emergency arise, they want to be able to get into the buildings. But those areas are now kind of tourist dead, It was once vibrant and lively, and a lot of people hang out. And now, only if you're going to the bars or nightclubs are you going to see people walking down there, because there's no local flair down there anymore. And here in Cambodia, all you need is a motorcycle, a little kitchenette that you attach to the side of your motorcycle, and you're off. And if you have the equipment and the food, you have a business. And you can go anywhere, you can set up almost anywhere, and just start selling. One thing I really like about here is that if you can't find the food will come to you, because if you see one of those motorbikes with the food cart on it, you wave them down. Generally, most of the time, they'll be happy to stop, set up, make you something, make you a dish, and then pack it all up and go to where they were originally going to park. The food comes to you, and you don't have to use an app to get it. Just wait outside long enough, flag one of them down, and you can have yourself a nice tasty meal. And I hope that never changes. I love the variety of street food here. I love how easy it is for these vendors to get it going and set it up, and it helps them make money. It's always very popular. And so I hope that never changes. I hope they keep it as it is, because it's fine and doesn't need to be changed. And of course, the third thing I hope that never changes is how easy it is to get your retirement visa extension here. Out of all the countries in the area, Cambodia has the easiest system, in my opinion. It's very easy, very straightforward. You don't need a lot of cash in the bank and a lot of financial information like you do in some countries. Nope, if you're 55 or older, you go in there, you sign a piece of paper, you get your ER visa extension. It's good for up to a year, and then every year you can renew it without a problem. And I know other countries have tried various things for people that are living long-term in their countries, and sometimes those things have worked. Most of the time, it just creates another hassle for the people living there. And you want people to live in your country, I think, because they get their money in your country. They're going to spend their money in your country. It's good for everybody. And I love how Cambodia's retirement program is just so accessible and easy, and without the hassle you have to go through from some other countries around here. So yeah, I absolutely hope that never changes. And like I said, there's no word that it's supposed to or anything, so don't panic. I'm just saying, I hope they keep that in mind. If somebody ever tries to bring it up, making changes, I just deny them. Just say no and move on to the next thing on the agenda, if you work for the government. All right. Don't forget to check out my links down below. I have PayPal, Ko-fi.com, other channels from this part of the world that are vlogging that you will absolutely enjoy. Check out those channels. And from Siem Reap, Cambodia, I will talk to you guys in the next one.